Welcome to Freedom Hall here in Louisville, Kentucky. It is Big Monday, presented by Bud Light, as we bring you inside the Big East. A couple of teams really looking for a signature win. It's UConn 13-5 against Louisville 13-6, and it is a whiteout here at Freedom Hall. Fans have been asked to wear all white, and they have responded. Just about everybody in the building here is wearing white in one form or another. Hi, everybody. Dan Schulman and Dick Vitale. Glad to have you with us here tonight. We mentioned both of these teams really looking for a signature win. Louisville's coming off a good win at DePaul. UConn really doesn't have that kind of a win, so how big is this game?
Well, Dan, if your dream and your goals are to be in the NCAA tournament, and Jim Calhoun and Rick Pitino told us that is their quest and that is their goal, they need some significant wins. They don't have any on their resume. They got to make certain, in the case of Louisville, a date here with Connecticut, a date Saturday with Syracuse. I think they become must games. I think it's a critical stage of the season for Connecticut. This is a major big game to Calhoun, to Pitino, to the Cardinal fans, to the Husky fans. If you want to be in the NCAA or NIT, where you begin to chant, we're number 65.
Both teams still really finding themselves. Connecticut is so young. Louisville has had so many injuries. Some changes, though, as we go into our Star Watch. Stanley Robinson, a career-high 21 points Saturday versus Indiana. Tonight will be his fourth start. Juan Palacios is back into the starting lineup for Louisville. He had a neck and shoulder injury, but came off the bench. A spectacular game on Saturday in the win against DePaul. As we check the starting lineups, Doug Wiggins, second game in a row. He has replaced A.J. Price at the point for UConn. So Jim Calhoun is starting 4 freshmen and 1 sophomore. Rick Pitino, Dick, has used 10 different starting lineups this year because of all the injuries that the Cardinals have had. Tonight's Connecticut-Louisville telecast, also available on ESPN HD, presented by Olivia. A packed house as always here in Louisville. A significant game, as Dick mentioned, inside the Big East. Cardinals are going to get the first look. Palacios lays it in and is fouled.
That's a great way of starting. About 2 weeks ago, he couldn't lift his right arm. He had a neck strain that created a problem. He couldn't shoot. He was big in that win over DePaul. And did they ever need that win to keep those dreams and hopes of an NCAA bid?
He had a huge game against UConn up in Hartford, or I think it was in Stores, actually, although Louisville lost that game, but it was in Stores. Connecticut beat Louisville in each of their 2 meetings last season.
Well, 84-80. They beat them up there. And then also, we saw a great performance on this floor by Padgett against Connecticut.
At 27.
Yes, sir, 27-8. They've had so many injuries, Dan, as you said. When you look at Louisville and you evaluate and you analyze their scene, it's been about injuries. I mean, you can't lose the likes of Palacios, Padgett early. Jenkins was out for 3 months before the season with all kinds of injuries. McGee.
Look how slick Rick Pitino looks. He's getting in the spirit of the whiteout as much as he can here tonight.
He's always slick, man. He is definitely all GQ, baby.
Palacios converts. The foul was on Wiggins. An early 3-0 lead Louisville, and now some pressure. Remember, 4 freshmen and a sophomore starting for UConn, and it forces an early turnover, that pressure does.
They've really had a dilemma, especially on the road. It all started in a loss at West Virginia, and then the confidence factor began to get shattered. Also the loss at LSU when we saw them. They played fairly well at home the other day and lost a tough one to an improved Indiana team.
UConn started the season 11-0, all at home, all against weaker opposition. But now that they've played teams like LSU and Indiana and also gone into the Big East, they are just 2-5 in their last 7 games without that signature win.
Louisville, on the other hand, has won 8 out of 10.
They're getting healthier. Padgett's doing the best he can with the bad knees. Palacios is back. Andre McGee is back. Palacios for 3, left it short.
The 2 losses were to Marquette and also to Notre Dame. What about Marquette and that win on the road against Pittsburgh? Unbelievable yesterday.
Really makes you look forward to our last Saturday primetime of the year, which is the return matchup in Milwaukee.
Well, Tom Crean does a phenomenal job getting maximum out of his people.
Sosa, the floater. And the rebound to Adrian.
Sosa from out of New York City. He and, by the way, Kelly played together at Rice High School. There's that zone. They're going to make them have to shoot from the perimeter, and that's been a major dilemma for Connecticut, making perimeter shots.
The vast majority of Connecticut's offense seems to come either in transition or on the offensive glass.
They're playing man-to-man right now. Soft backing up out of that man. See Wiggins getting the start to provide some offense and some energy.
A.J. Price coming off the bench. Adrian, the tough catch, and a foul called by Ted Hillary, who's here tonight along with Tim Higgins and Mike Kitts and Hall of Fame coach Jim Calhoun. Just 5-9 all-time against Rick Pitino. That goes back a number of years and a couple of institutions as well. The youngest team, and by a wide margin, Jim Calhoun's ever had, Dick.
Well, he's lost so much. We talked about losing the likes, underclassmen, Williams and Boone and Gay. And you think about also losing Armstrong, who graduated. I mean, they lost so much from that club.
Denham Brown, Rashad Anderson, they lost their top 6 players. They don't have a scholarship junior, never mind a senior. Price is into the game early for UConn after Wiggins got the start. Wiggins has already gone to the bench, but now Connecticut turns it over again.
Oh, had him right there. Diagonal pass, doesn't make it. I tell you, Pitino's really threaded out tonight.
Yes. That was Sosa to Palacios on the attempt for the alley-oop.
Yeah, Sosa right now, he makes eye contact, but not a good delivery. Doesn't deliver it like Brian Brown delivers it, the quarterback. Price on the floor now.
Yeah, as mentioned, he came into the game early. Wiggins got the start, got most of the minutes. Price only got about 60 minutes last game, and right now, his role appears to be backup point guard and maybe a little backup shooting guard as well.
Well, multiple defenses. Now they rotate into the 2-3 zone, very active. Connecticut's going to have to make some perimeter shots. Stanley Robinson played really well against Indiana.
Padgett got a piece of that, but the follow on the glass for Adrian. And again, that's been maybe the most effective offense for Connecticut this year is throw it up on the glass, let somebody go get it.
Well, offensive rebound and transition basketball. Teams that have neutralized them have made them play 5-on-5.
Terrence Williams off the screen and misses the 3. He's Louisville's leading scorer, rebounder, and in assists as well.
Not a good perimeter shooter.
No. And sometimes takes too many threes, although he is making more of them recently than he did at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, has a problem with shot selection.
Yeah. Got in the air and was lucky to find Sosa out of the perimeter.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The kind of tempo and the pace that will exist here tonight really should excite the Connecticut kids. Because Louisville's going to shoot the ball quickly, and they're going to press and open up the court.
Williams the miss. Rebound Adrian. Nice look ahead. They get out in transition, and Dyson jams it, Dick.
Dyson with the jam. I just talked about how you open up the court, and you want to get in transition. That's their style of play. They got some exciting young athletes.
So there's UConn with a 1 field goal on the offensive glass, 1 field goal in transition. We're going to be tracking that tonight, Dick, to see how much they're able to score in 5-on-5. Jim Calhoun teams, Dick, whether they're experienced or young, they've always loved getting out in transition.
Yeah, that's their game. But they've also had guys who give them some stability. As you see the jam, they don't have a stabilizer. They don't have a guy who does the second opportunity, the offensive rebound. Those are the number 2 ways that they score. Offensive rebound and transition.
Andre McGee has checked into the game of the Cardinals coming off a leg injury. There was some thought of redshirting him, but he's come back much more quickly than expected.
Well, he was brilliant down the stretch. He made 4 free throws in a row against DePaul and hit a big 3 in the last 4 minutes.
Palacios misses the jumper, comes up with the offensive rebound, missed again. Padgett with the rebound, and he missed. And the ball's going to stay at this end of the floor, but 3-4 opportunities for the Cardinals.
Padgett, an amazing story. He told us before the game, people, that many guys would not be playing basketball with the surgeries that he had as you watch him working on the offensive glass. Surgeries
on both knees back in the spring. They basically had to rebuild the cartilage in both knees as Jonathan Mandeldove is now into the game. Adrian sits down. Marcus Johnson has come in. Fabit left early here tonight, and UConn actually had some of their better stretches against Indiana with Fabit on the bench. Here they are running again, or at least trying to.
That's their game, the quick pass, the transition game.
Dyson's 3 rattles out. And coming up with the ball for Louisville is Earl Clark, who gave him a nice spark off the bench against the Blue Demons on Saturday.
Yeah, had 7 points in the second half with 5 off the glass.
This is where Williams is tough.
Yes, sir. He's a great athlete.
Yeah.
He's an athlete, a guy that likes to use the whole court, explode to the goal, great bounce off the floor.
A Connecticut timeout. Fabit's going to check back in. Jim Calhoun does not like his interior defense. Williams made him look bad. The Cards lead by 1. Welcome back to Big Monday, presented by Bud Light from Louisville. Terrence Williams, as you mentioned, Dick, a spectacular athlete. You talked about his shot selection.
Well, nobody rotates over Dan. I mean, he goes in, he jams, and a lot of people can jam. I'm not taking that away from the kid. But where was the defensive rotation to close off his angle? Nobody rotates. I think that is missing more I'm seeing this year than ever. The team concept on the defensive side, where you got to play as a unit.
And it bothered Jim Calhoun so much he took an immediate timeout, made a substitution, brought Thabit into the game, the 7'3" freshman, one of the best shot blockers in the nation. He's also brought in number 14, Curtis Kelly, yet another freshman and a very athletic big guy. So Thabit is a guy to keep an eye on the interior. A real work in progress, though, with the offensive end.
See, this is opening up the court. Connecticut likes this.
Yep.
They like this.
Transition
I'm telling you right now, opening up the court like that, that plays to their tempo.
Padgett has it blocked by Thabit, the first of perhaps many. He's averaging about 4 blocks per game.
And he averages about 5 altering shots a game.
Kelly, and he travels. We'll step aside the under-16 timeout here in the first half. UConn up 1 on Louisville.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by refreshingly smooth Bud Light, always worth it, and in part by Infinity, makers of the all-new 306 horsepower G, designed beyond machine, and UPS. What can Brown do for you?
Folks here in Louisville hoping the Cardinals under Rick Pitino will get back to the glory that they had in the best years of that man, Denny Crum. A couple of national championships, 1980 and 1986, and that I would imagine as we lead into Dickie V's all-time top 5 Louisville Cardinal players, and maybe a couple of them played for Denny Crum.
Well, Denny Crum, now Joe B. Hall, they have a radio show together, do a great job. Those are my 5. You may disagree, but I like the Doctor and Dunk, Mr. Darryl Griffin, Milt Wagner. He was outstanding. Charlie Tyra, Wes Unseld, and Purvis Ellison. Charlie Tyra recently lost his life. Wes Unseld was incredible in terms of outletting the basketball. He worked at my camps years ago. I gave him $50 in a bologna sandwich, and he was happy. Today they won 3 zeros after the 50.
Right. And no bologna.
No bologna. Yeah. Surf and turf.
Never nervous Purvis led Louisville to a national championship as a freshman back in 1986.
And I would say he beat our guy. Did he beat Jay Billis and the Dukies? I know one thing, though. Jay knows a little more hoops, baby.
Greg Austry's on the floor now for UConn. McGee on the drive as Louisville goes back on top.
See, they need those points. This is the healthiest they've been, what we're witnessing tonight. Remember, they're playing without Derek Character, and that's a whole case itself. He's become a character as the world of Derek turns.
He's a big, talented freshman. Rick Pitino says he's not suspended. He was away from the team for personal reasons. He's had a history of making some bad decisions, being lazy, not going to class, so forth. So the coaching staff made him sign a contract with 7 things he needed to do to get it back onto the team, and he violated it almost instantly. So Rick Pitino right now not sure if he's going to come back as A.J. Price buries a 3.
Well, they need that out of Price. He's got to start giving him some offense from the perimeter. Character. You see Sean Williams up at Boston College. When are these kids going to be responsible and accountable for their actions? There's only so many chances you can give them.
Williams over Johnson. Good defense, say the officials, as the ball comes off the glass to the Huskies.
Huskies like this pace. They really like this pace. We see a bounce to them tonight that I did not witness in the previous games we've had them.
They've lost 5 of their last 7, including losses at West Virginia, at LSU, at Pittsburgh. Johnson with a travel. Good call there by Ted Hillary as we revisit the Derek Character situation. A guy who lost about 50 pounds just to get his weight down. That's one of the things he's got to fulfill now. But he's just got to show up on time to class and practice, and he's been unable to do those kinds of things.
Is that really something a coach should have to ask a kid on a collegiate level? Show up for practice. Show up for a class. Isn't that part of being a young man? I mean, how many chances and opportunities? He's bounced around a lot of high schools. People keep giving him 2nd, 3rd, 4th chances. It's time to look in the mirror, man, and say the party's coming to an end.
Well, and every opposing coach says, man, you cannot imagine how good this guy is. Nobody's seen him all that often. He played limited minutes for Louisville, but he might not be able to get himself back on the team.
Well, I tell you, time is running out for him. It could end up being a tragic story.
Padgett over Thabit.
Nice move inside. The pump fake got him free. And what did he tell us before the game, Rick Pitino? He said, I played with Al Skinner. And let me tell you, it'd have to be something really serious for Mr. Skinner to say finally bye-bye to Sean Williams.
The beat kicks it out, but the long jumper missed by Wiggins, and then Wiggins, looking like a safety, picked off that pass, or Louisville had a dunk. Now Thabit may have traveled. Boy, it looked like he might have traveled.
Yeah, he did take an extra step. They missed it. But that was a setup play, maybe off the glass. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
I guess we'll count that one under the heading of the points they're getting off the offensive glass as we're tracking all that.
Thabit obviously is a kid that has to learn how to play offensively down in the low post area.
He's only been playing basketball since about the age of 14. McGee says he got hit on the arm. Now back come the Huskies again with a 2-point lead.
It doesn't matter what he said. Hillary said no. And that vote counts.
Again, a veteran trio here tonight. Tim Higgins, Ted Hillary, Mike Fitz on whiteout night here at Freedom Hall.
And this has been the biggest dilemma for Connecticut when teams have backed up and made them play 5-on-5, beat them in defensive transition.
Knocked away by Padgett.
They telegraph passes, and that's one of the dilemmas, and they get very little ball movement and player movement.
Well, we talked a little bit about Hashim Thabit. It's not easy to get from Tanzania to Connecticut, and for Thabit, it was a particularly circuitous route. We'll tell that story when we come back.
Paint thinner for Bruce Pearl, now!
I tell you what, they better get some players right now because they got blown out. I tell you, Bruce Pearl, he also must be happy. Chris Lofton must be able to play this week because Lofton got hurt his ankle.
He is a beauty, Bruce Pearl. We talked about Hashim Thabit and his route to get from Tanzania to Stores. At first, when Thabit came to the United States, he settled in very briefly in California, was placed there by a family friend. That didn't work out, and somebody else took him to Mississippi, lasted only there a couple of months, finally went to Texas, where he finished up his high school career. That's where he was discovered by Andre LaFleur, a connection of LaFleur, one of the assistant coaches for Connecticut, wound up in Stores. He's a freshman, and again, he's just getting used to the physical strength and some of the other aspects needed to compete on this level.
Hey, Dan, great story by Marlon Garcia about him, and in that story in USA, he talked about how many a time he sits in his room in Connecticut Stores and he cries because he misses his mom so much. And your heart has to bleed for a young guy. He speaks 3 languages, beautiful young guy, just as you said earlier, learning how to play, only playing basketball 4 years. I hope he listens to people like Jim Calhoun and all the people at Connecticut and stays in school for another 2 years.
At the next level, because of his height and his athleticism, his ability to run the floor, they're already talking about him in big terms. Palacios settling very nicely back into the starting lineup.
That's a big lift for them, getting Palacios offensively. He's absolutely not ready physically, but a team would draft him because of potential. But it'd be sad. He can learn so much more playing in a 5-on-5. There's the 3 by Palacios.
Palacios, a real force inside and outside, coming off the big game against DePaul over the weekend, in which he made his first 8 shots in that game.
Well, he played so well because his mom was able to see the game in Columbia.
That's right, on Deportes.
Yeah, ESPN Deportes. Are you going to watch that tonight? Maybe he's playing well tonight.
Let's see if Connecticut can get something accomplished here in the half court. This has been their weakness.
It's good ball movement. Got the open wing shot against the 2-3 zone.
Dyson missed it, and it's off Sosa out of bounds. Back to the Huskies with a fresh 35.
As we get into this time of the year now, it gets critical for a lot of clubs. You start to separate those that really are going to move on to the NCAA and those going to the NIT. Look at old GQ. I mean, he is the Francis Albert Sinatra of coaching, an entrepreneur.
And getting back to what you were saying off the top of the show, as Adrian knocks it in, you think both of these teams need to come up with some nice wins the rest of the way if they're going to get into the NCAA.
Well, I ask you one question, partner, and I know you do a great job. Name for me somebody significant they beat.
Well, the best win that either of these teams has had, well, I think Louisville winning at DePaul. I think winning a road game. DePaul's pretty good. They beat Kansas earlier this year.
Too.
Yep. Connecticut doesn't have it. Connecticut's only win away from home this year is at St. John's. If you don't beat good teams and if you don't win away from home, you don't go to the tournament.
Hey, St. John's had a big win. They said the Garden was rocking. Louis Quinteseca, they said, was standing up and cheering. They beat Syracuse.
That's right.
Yeah, they beat Syracuse.
Syracuse, as you mentioned earlier, here Saturday.
2-3 zone.
ESPN 7 p.m. as they'll be here at Freedom Hall.
That's been a mystery team, Syracuse.
Yeah. Padgett looking for Palacios, couldn't find him, turned to the corner and threw it out of bounds. Big Monday in college basketball action continue tonight with an interstate rivalry as Oklahoma takes on Mario Bogan and Oklahoma State, 9 o'clock Eastern tonight on ESPN and ESPN HD. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. How about that game 1 week ago, the Oklahoma State-Texas triple overtime game won by the Cowboys?
I had an NBA scout tell me tonight that Kevin Durant clearly is the best player in the nation.
Do you think there's any chance, implying that he would be taken ahead of Greg Oden if they were to both come out?
I can't see that happening because of Oden's body strength and playing down in that low post. But I'll tell you what, there are a lot of people who love Durant.
Baseline jumper, Palacios. He's got 8.
They really don't. They finally look like they have a go-to guy. Something that Connecticut has not recognized. Ready for this? The last 5 games have had 5 different guys as their leading scorer. No one's stepping up to become the go-to guy.
The guy who looks like he's got the best chance to do with the guy with the ball, 21, Stanley Robinson, the freshman, 21 in his last game, scoreless so far here tonight, but has the height and the bounce and the skill to be a star.
Yeah, he's long and lean and very active. Nice drive off the glass.
Jerome Dyson, another guy who's got a very bright future. This is the kind of team, if they can keep them all together for a couple of years, they got a chance to be awfully good. Smith has it swatted away by Thabit.
They better keep them all together because these guys aren't ready for that next level. They're having a tough enough time playing at this level.
They lost 5 out of 7. Price into traffic. Thabit jams it home.
Nice little dish off to Thabit. The offensive move inside created by the penetration. Rick not happy with the defensive effort right there. Nobody stepped up to close off the drive.
Thabit using the left hand to block the shot and then running the floor, getting down for the dunk.
Well, that was all created by getting Padgett to react to the dribble. He reacts to the dribble penetration. Wide open for the jam inside. Slip and slide, baby. Just slipping and laying inside. Take a look right here, the class breakdown. Look at this guy, class. Wow.
No seniors, no juniors, 5 sophomores, one of whom, Price, has been away from basketball for 2 years because of medical and legal problems. 8 freshmen, 4 of whom started tonight.
Hey, we talked about Durant a little bit earlier. If I had to, and I did it on my website this morning on Dickie V Speaks, I put it up there when I talk about the leading candidates for National Player of the Year. I've really revised my list. 1, I still have Orlando Tucker. But number 2, I'm going to Oregon, baby. Aaron Brooks. I got a phone message from Curry Kirkpatrick, former SI writer. He says you give no love to the best player in the country, Brooks. And you know what? He may be right. They're 18-1. He's averaging 18 a game, and he makes big shots.
Yes, he has made huge shots late in games to get them big wins in the conference.
Well, he made a big shot to beat Arizona on the road. Then he beat UCLA.
That foul went against Terrence Farley, who was on the seat of his pants down on the court when he realized the foul had been assessed on him.
Rick Pitino excited about their new practice facilities that are going to open on August 1st, right down the road. What's that school that plays little hoops? Oh, Kentucky! And they got some new ones as well now. We're going to see them on February 10th.
Boy, if we were talking tennis right now, that would be an unforced error committed right there by UConn. Just a sloppy turnover.
Well, we got to talk tennis. The Australian Open.
That's
Maria
right.
Sharapova is going to win it. Oh, look at this right here. That's sloppy. I mean, there's no reason for that.
That pass up the sideline forced Mandeldub to step out of bounds.
That's just young kids learning how to play. One key word, patience has to be the key word for Connecticut fans.
Brandon Jenkins in the game for Louisville, a guy with some experience, but a guy who had a badly broken leg in the summer, a little bit late getting his season started. Sosa seeking out the contact, misses the shot, and the rebound ripped down by Adrian.
I think one of the key players for Louisville to make a run is going to be Jenkins. They have to have him elevate his game. He's got to be able to give them the kind of performance he gave them last year.
All right, here they are in the half court, Dick. Can they run some stuff and get a good look?
Well, they got a good look before. Man-to-man defense right now. Stepping out, a little hedge right there up on top.
Austria the handoff. Wiggins has speed to burn, misses the runner. Farley and Mandeldub tie it up, and the arrow is going to keep it at this end of the floor. A good pace in the early going here in Louisville tonight. UConn up 3 on the Cardinals at Freedom Hall. One of the famous Louisville grads, Johnny Unitas, one of the great quarterbacks, maybe the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, a star for the Colts, of course, in his pro career. We got a couple of young Colts fans in the house. Tell us about these guys.
Yeah, little Connor and Jake, my grandsons in the house. They love Peyton Manning with their dad, Thomas Krug. Oh, who's that trying to teach them a little hoops here? Somebody wanted a picture. Come on, see you dribble, guys. Let's see you bounce the ball.
We got on them for not having much of a left hand, but they got better as the day went along.
Oh, look at Shoot playing some hoops. They like the camera.
Yeah, they
wonder
do.
where they get that from. I tell you this, they went with me to a surprise 30th birthday for Peyton Manning. And if every pro athlete was as nice as that guy is with kids, just like Derek Jeter. I was on Mike and Mike this morning, and I said, Tony Dungy reminds me of Joe Torre with the same principles, same way of communicating with his athletes, and Peyton Manning and Derek Jeter. Yep. The only difference, those guys have a lot of jewelry and a lot of gold, and Dungy and Peyton don't, but they're going to get there first. They're going to get there first.
They're going to win it. Yeah, you said that before last week when we were talking. I think you picked both championship games correctly.
They're going to win it all. I really believe it's the year of Tony Dungy and Peyton Manning.
Sosa off the feed from Williams, kicks it to the corner. The ball moving here by the Cardinals. Connecticut, though, recovering quickly.
Good man-to-man defense right now being played. Connecticut very impressive. Both clubs talked to us before the game about how vital this game is.
Both have a little work to do. Clark on the drive over Adrian, and it won't go down for him.
They like Clark's agility and mobility.
Well, if character's not going to be on the team, and who knows if he'll come back, they need another big guy. And Clark is looking to gobble up those minutes. Austria had his jersey held there by Williams, and then a carry is the call against Wiggins.
My gut feeling is, and I hope I'm wrong, as you look at the Hall of Famer Jim Calhoun, my gut feeling is we will not see Derek Character play for Louisville. That's just my gut feeling, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope he proves me wrong. I want to be wrong. I want to see the kid. I love young people. But I hate seeing him make mistake after mistake. But why is it going to change? Give me one reason to show me why.
He is not on the bench tonight. He is not in the building tonight. He is not considered to be part of the team as of now for failing to fulfill the requirements of a contract he signed with the coaching staff.
Nice ball movement right there.
Jenkins misses the three. Padgett underneath, working hard.
He really is working hard, but he's coming up empty, but he's giving a great effort.
It's a held ball, an unpopular call here. It'll stay with Louisville, but they wanted a foul.
I think they deserved the foul right there. I really think that was a bad break. I mean, right here, he gets grabbed on the arm. I think there should have been a call there, sir. But all up to you.
Yeah, Kelly and Adrian were both in there.
What a job Rick Pitino did when he was at Kentucky. I firmly believe had he stayed at Kentucky, we would have seen him in the Hall of Fame by now as well.
17-14 Connecticut. As you saw the drive for the Cardinals, just 2 points in about now the last 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
You know, Kentucky, with a lot of the kids he recruited 3 years in a row, went to the final game of the championship.
Right.
They won the year with Tubby taking over, did a great job, and then won in 96 with Rick, and then lost the final to Arizona in 97.
Offensive foul, Sosa, and Tim Higgins and Jim Calhoun made the same call at exactly the same moment. Let's go back to Reese Davis in the studio for a SportsCenter 30 at 30.
All right, Dan, just in case you missed it, Bill Parcells will retire and is finished as the Cowboys head coach. Has a couple of Super Bowl rings to his credit, but says it's time to stop. He had to let it go at the age of 65. Stepping into the fray, the Super Bowl will be Peyton Manning. He had an X-ray on the injured thumb today that he banged against the helmet during yesterday's AFC Championship game. Results coming up. SportsCenter after the games tonight. ESPN News always.
All right, Reese, thank you. Another turnover in the half court by Connecticut. Jenkins with an offensive rebound. Adrian blocks it away.
Hey, Bill Parcells steps down. Life just begins at 65. Is he kidding me? Come on, Digger, tell him life just begins.
Williams and another block shot, this time by Thabit. They lead the nation in blocks, and if they do so,
6 years in a row.
It'll be 6 years in a row they've led the country.
9 blocks per game. Also outstanding rebounding margin as well. One of the tops in the nation.
A great offensive rebounding team, the Huskies, although they'll give up their fair share of offensive rebounds to the other team. Price, tough pull-up, and Clark is going to be called for the foul. And these fans, all dressed in white here tonight for Whiteout Night at Freedom Hall, not very happy with the work of the officials so far.
Well, have you ever seen a losing team at home happy with the Zebras? Never, ever, ever.
3-point lead for the Huskies on the road. Price will step to the line for UConn for a couple of shots. Clark, who committed the foul, sits down. First one good for Price. Hey, don't forget, Super Tuesday means a night of college basketball on ESPN. Presented by Alexis. Indiana is in Champaign to take on the Illini beginning at 7 Eastern on ESPN HD, and then Alabama at Auburn at 9 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
Looking live from Champaign, Illinois. This is Brent Musburger with my buddy Steve Lavin. Hey, that's going to be some scenario. Talk about a soap opera. Remember the Eric Gordon situation?
That's right.
Wow. There's going to be some excitement there. Indiana is one of the most improved teams in the Big Ten.
That was an exciting game they had against Connecticut on the weekend.
They win a game on the road. They won 9 out of 10. DJ White's playing better. Kellen Sampson making a run to be Coach of the Year in the Big Ten.
We'll have a Big Ten battle Saturday night. Primetime game from Columbus, Ohio State and Michigan State.
What about Odin? Had a big game as you watch Paget rotating inside. Nice little jump, hooked in the lane.
Not afraid to go with the big guy, Dick.
Odin had a big game in his last game.
29, I think, right? 11 of 12 from the floor.
Trying to get active. There's that zone right now. Try to get the gaps and seams. You see that gap up on top? You got to make two people play. You got to dribble right through the gap.
They pass it around the perimeter a lot, Dick, but they're not really making any progress.
They're not making the zone adjust. Use the skip pass. Use the zigzag. Use the post.
Price using the screen, misses the three.
That's exactly what the zone wants you to do. Shoot over the top.
Palacios the foul.
I'll tell you one thing, Rick Pitino has to be concerned with Mr. Tabit on the inside. We're going to watch Paget. Look at him taking it at the big guy. He says, I got my own big guy, Mr. Paget.
On the UPS halftime report, Reese UPS, founded in 1907 in Seattle, now the world's largest package delivery company. And its international air sorting hub is right here in Louisville. They deliver, get this, Dick, an average of 15 million packages per business day. Louisville known for that, for Churchill Downs, for the Louisville Slugger baseball bat factory, and, of course, for Cardinal basketball.
Well, you know, Reese Davis is our quarterback for game day. He's our Peyton Manning. He's got to give it up. He hasn't making a lot of throws to me lately. I'm not getting those throws. I run a couple down and outs, and the ball's not coming. I mean, I got to go get traded and play with Tom Brady. He'll get me to rock.
What are you turning into Keyshawn on me here? You just want the ball?
I want to win.
Again, the zone, and again, UConn has been struggling with it. They've turned the ball over 9 times already. Adrian, 15-footer, is there. He is having himself a big night.
That's really a great place to attack the zone. There's a gap right behind the front two, and Adrian slid right into the open seam.
Paget right at the beat again, missed the shot. Palacios double pump, lost it on the way up.
That's what Connecticut likes to really do. Run, baby, run. They hate to see the 5 line up. See if you slide right in the foul line area. Right in this area here. You can get yourself some shots. Matter in the man-to-man. Changing defenses, using multiple defenses. Rick Pitino's done that throughout his career.
Another turnover.
Yes, sir. Turnover city, and not apples either.
McGee. Bit of a wild shot, followed the miss, missed again. Boy, as Louisville had some opportunities around the rim, nothing going down for them. They're 1 for their last 14.
I think the presence of the big guy inside, even if he doesn't block the shot, awareness to his size, his reach, his length, I think that creates havoc.
Open look from the corner, not there. And the rebound to Adrian. That is his 9th rebound already in the game.
Well, he's their big, strong guy. He's got to be a little bit more consistent for them. He's their veteran. He's a guy that was there last year with all the stars. He's got to want the ball. He's got to be a leader. They really lack a stabilizer, doubling up on him.
A low-scoring first half here in Louisville. Connecticut turning the ball over, and Louisville not shooting well at all. Williams with the rebound off the miss by Price. Again, the crowd in that case wanted a charge on Price.
Sliding inside the Paget. See, too much standing. You cannot create good offense when you don't have ball, but when you end up with shots like that, that's really not a good shot in your offensive sets. You drill, you run your half-court game on a regular basis in practice, and you don't run it for that.
Austrie is fouled. On the floor, says Tim Higgins. Let's go back and look at them attacking the zone, Dick.
Well, they got right into the seam area. See, right in this area here, they're going to look to attack. You're going to watch him right here. They're going to slide Adrian. There he is, right in here. Freeze it. He gets the ball right behind the foul line area. That's a medium-range jump shot. You got to make that shot, and he did.
Louisville, so far in this game, is shooting 21%. Connecticut is shooting 45%, but they're not getting many shots because of all the turnovers.
You know, despite losing, Mike Anthony does a great job in the Hartford Courant pointing out stats. And I get some more info there. And I can tell you this, Connecticut, in his article, 36.2% teams are shooting against them. That gives you a chance to win.
And a held ball will keep it at this end of the floor. Year after year, Connecticut is among the best shot-blocking teams, the best rebounding teams, and the best in terms of defensive field goal percentage in the country.
Well, you know, I got a call today. Spoke to our boss, Norby Williamson, one of the big guys up on top. And I'll tell you, he even said, Connecticut's having a tough time making free throws.
That's right.
You and I had him that game against Pittsburgh, and they were a disaster on the line.
That cost him against Indiana as well.
Yes, sir. Even though they shot 17 for 28, Indiana was 20 for 21 on the road.
Kickball there by Padgett, one of the recent rules, a couple of years ago now, where they reset it to 15. If it's under 15, not all the way back to 35.
How important it is to make free throws? Just ask Marquette. They go 10 for 10 of Bo Derek at the end in overtime. They shoot a Bo Derek against Pittsburgh on the road and beat Pittsburgh. And I'm going to tell you this. I told Rick before the game, and you were there, Marquette has some of the toughest kids you're going to ever meet. And they're working around that sideline, Tom Crean. His energy is unbelievable.
You win at Pittsburgh, you've accomplished something.
They won at Pittsburgh, they won at UConn, and they won at Louisville.
Wiggins inside. Blocked by Padgett on the Adrian attempt. Shot clock violation. It'll be Louisville basketball.
Really a poor game in terms of offensive efficiency. Both clubs struggling. I mean, 21-16 with a shot clock and with a three-point shot. And you're looking at Jim Calhoun and Rick Pitino, who really understand offensive basketball, yet we're looking at 21-16. That's a football score.
And again, Louisville shooting only 21% from the perimeter. Padgett jump hook off the glass right over Thabit again.
They got to get him more looks. He really looks confident inside. He looks mobile as well. Had the big game last year against Connecticut, put 28 on the board.
6 points, 4 rebounds for Padgett. Nearly stolen away by Smith.
They're out of sync right now. It's almost like desperation time.
Adrian into the double team, kicks it out. Wiggins, tough pull-up, way short.
Just not the kind of shot you like. Not the kind of offensive rhythm and flow. It's just a bunch of young kids trying to put the pieces together to learn how to play as a unit.
Hey, don't forget, after us tonight, a big Monday presented by Bud Light continues from Stillwater. It'll be Oklahoma State taking on Oklahoma, 9 Eastern tonight on ESPN and ESPN HD.
That's one of my favorite places. You're talking about Oklahoma State, Spirit Week. Gallagher Iver really rocks. I tell you, Mario Bogan and James Hunt Curry, that's a heck of a tandem. Big Pitino, what about the job he did at Providence as well? He made that run to the NBA, told us tonight, you will not see me ever coaching the NBA again. College, yes, but NBA, he loves the college game.
Louisville can hold for the last shot. They brought Will Scott into the game for the first time tonight.
Dr. Scott's son. Dr. Scott, outstanding orthopedic guy out of New York City.
Padgett gets it off in time, but it won't go. A very low-scoring first half here at Freedom Hall. Louisville, their lowest scoring first half of the season, yet they lead 21-18 at the break. Let's go now back to the studio. Reese Davis is standing by with a UPS halftime report. Well, somebody said during halftime to me, this wasn't exactly a beauty contest here in the first half. Big Monday presented by Bud Light from sold-out Freedom Hall in Louisville. Yes, that is your score going to the second half. UConn 21, Louisville 18. Welcome back to Freedom Hall. Dan Shulman and Dick Vitale back with you. If it wasn't for Connecticut's transition offense, this would have been an even lower scoring first half.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. That's the only way they basically score. They can't get anything in their half-court game. But watch them right here in transition. And that's what they would love to do. But they didn't give any opportunities there because Louisville did a pretty good job getting back. Here they are again in transition, pushing the ball. Neither club shot well, and that's putting them mildly as we look at Connecticut trying to push the ball. There's the lob, and there's the dunk by Tabit. I'll tell you this. You know, it's amazing, Dan. They're losing by 3 at Louisville. They shoot 9% from the 3, 1 for 11. They shoot 8 for 35 from the 2. I think if you shoot 22% and 9%, and you're only down 3, I mean, you got to be in pretty good shape psychologically.
You can see how UConn, 11 of their 21 in transition, only 4 of their 21 in the half court. Rebounds were even at 20 apiece. Connecticut, and this has been a problem for them all year, assist to turnover. 3 assists, 10 turnovers in the first half. Thabit with his 4th block of the night, and then Sosa commits the foul.
That's what Pittsburgh does so well when you talk about assist-to-turnover ratio. North Carolina had them the other day, averaging about 20 turnovers. Look at those numbers. Oh, Brick City. Look at that field goal from the three-point line. I mean, that's 2 for 18, baby, between both clubs.
The lowest scoring first half for each team so far this year. Louisville in the 2-3 zone to open the second half.
Howie Schwab told me that the football team put more points on the board.
27 against UConn. The Louisville football team did this year.
Well, they put a lot of points on the board all year long.
Thabit commits the foul off the Robinson miss, and he doesn't argue.
He doesn't argue at all, just puts the ball down. Good sportsman, looks at us and he laughs. He's a beautiful young guy. Any guy who loves his mom as much as he does, you're not bad people. When you love your mother and you talk about mom so much, you're beautiful people.
Jim Calhoun talks about how smart he is, how funny he is, how well-mannered he is, and on the court talks about the incredible upside that he thinks Thabit has.
Well, he has great upside. You can't teach that 7-3, Mr. Schulman.
Sosa leaning in on Dyson, way too strong.
Wow, that's a Brick City. They're going to build a new field house a lot quicker shooting like that.
Wild shot by Price. Bad decision there. Numbers for Louisville at the other end. And Williams will shoot a couple. A bad shot leads to free throws at the other end.
Well, A.J. Price came in with a big build-up when he came out of high school. But then for 2 years, he had the blood problem, which was a serious problem. Overcame that. Then had the dilemma with the computers, the off-campus scenario. Got another opportunity. And I just think it's going to take a while before he gets his rhythm and gets back to playing like he was as a high school star.
Price did not start the game here tonight. He is on the floor to start the second half along with Dyson in place of Wiggins, who was the starter at the beginning of the game. Wiggins played only 7 minutes in the first half, didn't score a point, didn't have an assist, had a couple of turnovers. There's the timeline for A.J. Price, the brain hemorrhage that nearly took his life a couple of years ago. And then just as he was getting healthy enough to play last year, part of the stolen laptop situation at Connecticut, that cost him a full year because of suspension. Steal by Williams, foul by Dyson.
I tell you, this has been one ugly display of offensive efficiency, and that's putting it mildly.
Yep. And again, Connecticut's biggest problem has been turning the ball over. Louisville's biggest problem has been making shots.
Got to make shots. Last time I found out in basketball, you have to make shots to be able to win. Talk all the defense you want, baby. It calls about score the ball.
Padgett had some good moments in the first half against the Beat. Missed 3 by Williams. Good rebound by Adrian. He's into double figures now on the glass.
Yeah, if I were them right now, I'd get patient, slide Adrian inside and say, come on, you're the veteran player, get us a deuce inside.
The Beat looking for his offense, and he's fouled by Padgett.
What the Beat does, and it's a problem with young, big people learning how to play the post, he neutralizes his size. He brings the ball down, and he goes from 7'3" to about 6'3". Now watch when he catches the ball. He catches it, he goes down. See that? He becomes like 6'3". He tries to get himself strong, but he becomes a little player.
Second foul on Padgett. The Beat at the line. Not a great free throw shooter. He knocks down the first. And again, a lot of this is still fairly new to him, shooting just 49% from the line coming into this game.
You can expect that for a big guy that's only played the game 4 years. In fact, the first time he was standing around watching a bunch of kids play in Tanzania, the guy said, "Hey, why don't you play?" I said, "I don't know how. I don't have shoes." He said, "We'll get you shoes." He's never going to have to worry about getting shoes anymore.
Padgett ripped it away from Adrian, causing yet another Connecticut turnover. It'll stay with Louisville down at this end of the floor, right in front of Rick Pitino. Now the officials are conferring. Each team thinks the ball belongs to them right now. Terrence Williams is standing out of bounds, waiting to be handed the ball.
Both coaches could care less about how ugly this game is. The one that gets the win is going to feel like $1 million. He'll feel like Eva Longoria. The loser's going to feel like Rosie O'Donnell.
How about a great look there from Jenkins to Palacios. Some beautiful basketball there by the Cardinals as they go back on top.
Nice ball movement to get the ball over to Palacios. No charge there. Wow.
Wiggins open. Louisville ball. Not for long. Connecticut has it back. And Palacios comes up limping. He just got healthy after the neck and shoulder injury cost him 6 games.
That would be a bad sign. I'm only teasing, by the way, Longoria and Rosie O'Donnell. I'll let Rosie and Donald Trump battle each other out. Let's stay out of that, baby.
Palacios stays in the game. Crowd wanted an over-the-back call against the beat. Palacios is in a lot of pain. I'm not sure he's going to be able to stay in there right now.
That's been a story of his career. Injury after injury.
Yeah.
Came in with a reputation. They thought he's going to be another mash burn.
And here comes Earl Clark. It was Price running into him that caused that problem. Maybe knee to knee. He's got 11 points. He had 21 Saturday against DePaul, and he's trying to work it out there over on the bench.
They need him to win this game. They need his offensive firepower because they're getting offense nowhere else.
Sosa, contested 8-footer, goes down.
He's going to be a very good player. He just shot selection, understanding the system, getting acclimated to the quickness of the college game.
First points of the night for the freshman Sosa. Adrian, nice find to Wiggins. He misses. Williams the board.
That's been a dilemma for Connecticut, the perimeter shot all year.
Jenkins passed up the shot. And now they'll reset.
I mean, you shoot 9% from the three, 8 for 35 from the floor. I'll tell you, they want to get the ball to him more. He's very effective. He's got a bounce to him tonight, Dan, that I have not seen.
Louisville on a tear to open the second half. Well, Louisville on a tear to open the second half. Jake, a lot of times big guys will shy away from a shot blocker like Thabit. Not David Padgett tonight.
Well, David Padgett doing a great job getting the ball in deep. He's getting the ball deep. Then he protects it by sealing it off with his body. Getting good position. Post position is really outstanding. Taking it out to 7-3. Who never lifted his arms. Never got his arms up. Takes it again. Does the little jump ball. I tell you, sir, why can't I score on this Piper Dandy when I have 27 against Boone and Armstrong and all the big guys they had last year who are now playing in the NBA?
All 4 field goals for Padgett tonight. You just saw them all going to that left shoulder, either for layups or jump hooks.
He does a great job protecting the basketball.
Nearly another Connecticut turnover on a great athletic attempt there by Clark.
You know, Connecticut plays well in spurts, but then they go to a spurt where they really struggle, and it sets them back. We saw it against LSU, and we saw it against Pittsburgh.
And Louisville, Dick, has been a terrific second-half team this year. Their spurts, almost all of them have come in the second half of games. Williams for 3.
That hurts. When he makes threes, you're in trouble. I know Rick Pitino, and I can guarantee you Rick Pitino at halftime said, guys, we shot horrendously, and yet we're in the game. He's a great way of taking a negative and turning it a positive.
Thabit is fouled, and a good call by Mike Kitts, the official up top. He saw that somebody had a hold of his jersey. As Thabit went up and tried to dunk it, somebody was grabbing his jersey.
Yeah, it was a good call by Mike. Tell you, I feel a little bit for that coaching staff in Connecticut because they got so much youth out there coaching their hearts out, but they have to realize this club is going to go through growing pains. Now watch right here. You're going to see, look at that right there.
Yeah.
I mean, God, I grabbed his shirt.
Terrence Williams grabbed his jersey.
Can't get away with that nonsense. Can't get away with it. Hey, what about a salute right now? You ready for this? Kingsport, Tennessee. I'll bet you don't know this. Dobbins, Lenny Bennett High School won their 2,000th game, the most of any high school around. Congratulations to them.
Another milestone coming up. We talked about the Syracuse game here Saturday night, 7 Eastern on ESPN. That'll be Jim Boeheim's 1,000th game as head coach at Syracuse. Think about that.
Talk about a Hall of Famer and a super guy, great humanitarian.
2 in a row for Williams, and he's looking right at you after he makes the shot.
Well, he can look at me all he wants. He better go look at somebody and play defense.
Yep.
And it's early in the game.
He's an outgoing kind of a kid, and he was feeling it after that second three.
He's a very streaky shooter.
Yeah.
And I'm being kind saying streaky. He's an athlete. Oh, Mr. Williams says, I'm getting on fire. I'm getting on fire. He says, give me some love. Give me some love.
Juan Palacios, who was shaken up a couple of minutes ago, not on the floor right now, the high scorer in this game. Louisville playing some great basketball here in the second half, leading 33-24. You see that blue puzzle piece on the lapel of Jim Calhoun's jacket. That is in support of a charitable endeavor called Autism Speaks. As we mentioned last week, 2 of Coach Calhoun's grandchildren are afflicted by various forms of autism. And each and every game, he and his coaching staff wear those blue puzzle pieces, symbolizing how autistic kids they need to try to put the puzzle together. We've jumped on board, and we talked about it on the weekend. It's a great, great endeavor that they've got going.
Bob Wright really has done a great job, the head of NBC, really creating this, and people out there are really responding. So again, really support the people that need a helping hand with autism. They need your help.
And as much as anything, it's about awareness. And Jim Calhoun talked about it. We've talked with him about it. It's about getting early diagnosis, early intervention. No 2 people afflicted with autism are the same. And while there is no known cure for autism, every autistic child can be helped. And that's one of the messages that Jim Calhoun and the foundation want to get out.
Well, Dan Marino speaks very much about it because he has a child that's autistic and does a great job talking about it.
Austria, with nothing else to do, puts up a prayer. Padgett brings it down.
Austria didn't play the last game. Didn't get in. Didn't get it 1 minute.
Williams feeling it now, way short. 2 makes, then an air ball.
That's why he's streaky. There's an example of his streakiness. I mean, he's the kind of guy that'll put points on the board. There's no doubt he can rebound. He's an athlete, and he's a multi-dimensional player. But shooting the basketball is questionable.
Look at Connecticut, 8 minutes and 20 seconds since they made a field goal. Unbelievable.
They play in spurts, and I really think that's the youth. I talked to Jeff Jacobs and Mike Anthony, our writers at halftime, and Phil Chartis, and we talk about the fact that they're so young. Oh, he carried it.
Yeah.
Absolutely carried it. I could see that, and I have one eye, man.
14th turnover committed by UConn. The same problems they've had most of the season. Bad assist to turnover ratio, executing in the half court. The same problems are afflicting them here tonight.
I wrote an article recently on my website about the fact that Connecticut fans have to be patient. I mean, if they have all these expectations, they really, it was almost a con game looking at their record early this season and the numbers blowing out all those people. I mean, they didn't leave Connecticut, and as you said earlier, didn't play really quality competition.
13-5 now, but they've lost 5 out of 7. They've only got 1 road win. That was at St. John's. They're 2-3 in league play. And Jim Calhoun says, I don't want to hear about the tournament. I just want them to play better in their next game.
But he told us his goal is still the NCAA tournament. They lost more than anybody in the country, basically. 3 of those guys were underclassmen. When you look at Gay and you look at Williams and Boone, and then the senior Armstrong, and you look at Denham Brown, and it's not even factored in there, Anderson as well.
Right.
I mean, that's so much. Think about that.
Well, they lost their top 6 players.
I think the one, if you look at Connecticut fans and Connecticut's coaches, I thought when they're going to play George Mason for the right to go to the Final Four, I thought it was Lock City, especially getting George Mason where they're getting him after they won those 2 games. You thought Connecticut would have been ready to put them away. I think that has to be one of the most disappointing moments for a lot of those people not winning that game.
Earl Clark, who had a big second half Saturday against DePaul, knocks down a free throw. Stanley Robinson picked up the foul, his 3rd. He stays in. Louisville stays in the 2-3.
Stanley Robinson really quiet here. He's been really playing well. That's going to happen again. Young kids up, down, like a roller coaster, man. Like my stocks. They go up, they go down. Just hope the ups outset the downs.
I'm not worried about you, partner. It was 21-18 UConn at the half, so it's 17-3 in favor of Louisville so far this half. Wiggins got hit on the hand. Good call.
Right there, no doubt about that. But, saying all that, what a job Jim Calhoun has done as the architect of this Connecticut program. I don't think anybody could ever believe when you think about 9 straight years with 20 wins, 16 seasons with 20 wins at Connecticut. I mean, he's led Connecticut to the NCAA tournament 14 times. I mean, it's unbelievable. Winning national titles, Big East championships 6 times. I mean, the guy's done an incredible job, and that's why he and Boeheim are in the Hall of Fame.
And you think Pitino's going to join them one day?
Oh, I think there's no doubt. And they're also, what I love about those guys, all of them, they're all great humanitarians. I remember when I started the President's Club with Mike Krzyzewski and John Saunders, when we wanted to get 50,000 out of guys that called up. Pitino was like, no doubt. He's having a great day. He's getting the ball in too deep.
Yep.
He's getting the ball in too deep.
And a little bit easier this time because the beat's not in the game. He's getting ready to check back in. Rebound for Padgett at the other end. Good look ahead for Smith.
Nobody back.
Williams.
Get it to you, baby. Get it to you, baby. They're rocking in the Cardinal house. They're rocking here in the Cardinal house. This is Pitino hoops, baby. Look at this right here. That's the transition game, the little dish, and then seal off the defense. But it's been Mr. Padgett on the interior. There he is, making like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, making like the big guy with the jump hook in the lane.
Hey, Dick, Super Tuesday presented by Lexus begins in Champaign tomorrow night, 7 Eastern on ESPN HD, Indiana and Illinois. Then it's Alabama off a controversial 2-point win over Georgia on the weekend, taking on Auburn at 9.
I want to get down there with Brett Musburger, and I want to get down there with Aaron Andrews and Steve Lavin. I want to be the 4th guy on it. I want to see the handshake between Sampson and Mr. Weber.
Going to be a lot of intrigue.
Eric Gordon. He said no to Illinois after committing verbally and signed with the Hoosiers. And as Rick Bosich told me, the fine journalist here in Louisville, he said, Dickie V, he is the real deal.
Indiana playing some good basketball. What a steal by McGee. And then Clark lost it out of bounds. It will stay with the Cardinals.
Illinois lost a heartbreaker in Champaign to Wisconsin, who's won 15 in a row.
Well, Ryan's team, they just keep on winning. You look at the man-for-man, and you wonder, there's a tendency for people to say, well, they don't have as much talent as this team, or they don't do this as well as that team. All they do is keep on winning.
Well, you wonder, people ask me, do they belong up there talking with Florida, North Carolina, and UCLA? And the answer is yes, because they know how to execute, they know how to defend, and on a neutral, they'll get great plays out of Orlando Tucker, and Cameron Taylor is becoming outstanding.
Yep. A Louisville turnover. Connecticut has now gone more than 10 and a half minutes since making a field goal.
Wow.
And a foul on Clark.
10 and a half minutes. Think about that length of time. In today's day and age, where these kids are so agile, so quick, so explosive. Jim Calhoun, you talk about a survivor. He's a cancer survivor, had prostate cancer. He and Jim Boeheim.
Palacios is back, Dick, after that leg injury a few minutes ago.
That zone's getting a lot more active. You get more bounce in it.
Wiggins has some bounce. There is the first field goal in almost 11 minutes for the Huskies.
Wiggins spotted an opening in the zone, the gap, and he just exploded right through it, a little one-on-one maneuver.
And he's taking some of the playing time away from A.J. Price. Right now, Price and Wiggins are out there together in the backcourt as Price slides to the 2. Dyson is out there as well, so it's a 3-guard look for the Huskies.
Well, 3 quick guards. They're hoping that A.J. Price can one day just have that breakout game and get going.
Dyson comes up with a steal. And McGee commits the foul. Tim
Higgins with the call, the little bump on the open court. My friends, there's no question the Big East lost so much talent last year. And it's going to be an upside, up and down. I just like that Marquette team because they're so tough mentally. They can win on the road. You got to like Pittsburgh. And I'm telling you, keep an eye on the Hoyas of Georgetown. I have a feeling at the end of the year they're going to be a major player.
Right now, Pittsburgh leads the conference at 5-1. Notre Dame, Marquette, and Syracuse are all 4-2. 16 teams in the Big East. And right now, Louisville's 3-2. Connecticut 2-3. Williams a miss. And this will stay at this end of the floor with the Cardinals.
I really think it's a dilemma in the Big East, and it really bothers me is that everyone doesn't play each other at least once. I think that really sad. You don't get a true, genuine champ until you at least meet head-to-head one time. I think they should reassign their matchups and really try to work that out.
Padgett tried the jump hook again, a little bit strong on this one.
I realize you can't play everybody twice in terms of round robin because of the number of the teams, but there's a way you can work it out to play each other at least once. I mean, take Notre Dame now. They don't play the likes, I believe. I may be wrong. They don't play Pittsburgh or Connecticut, do they?
Palacios knocks it down. Well, 16 teams in the league. You'll play 3 teams twice, 2 you won't play at all. Louisville enjoying their game against Connecticut, lost twice to the Huskies last season, try to avenge those defeats here tonight. When we come back, we'll play Did You Know? Which current Connecticut senator and presidential candidate is a graduate of Louisville's law school? Welcome back to Louisville. 14-point lead for the Cardinals over the Huskies. A connection between these two schools. Presidential candidate Chris Dodd went to a law school right here at Louisville. And a graduate in 1972, elected to Congress in 74, Senate in 1980, and a presidential candidate in 2008. Yes, sir.
He has a look. He has a look of Richard Digger Phelps. Digger, to me, I really believe he's missed his calling. I really think he should be in politics. He should be in Washington, D.C. Reese Davis, come on now. Throw him a pass, and let's get on his campaign. I mean, what a group. Jay Billis, myself, Reese, you, all of us campaigning for Digger.
What if Digger asked you to be his running mate?
Wow. He's running me? I'm not going to be a running mate for anybody. I'm only teasing the Digger.
Wiggins at the line. Williams had it, and that'll be a travel as he falls to the ground. And let's go to Reese Davis, the aforementioned Reese Davis with a 30 at 30.
It always scares me when you guys talk about me like that, Dan. On 30 at 30 update, Bill Parcells is done, retiring from coaching. Won a couple of Super Bowls, but couldn't take Dallas there. He could have stayed on another year, tried to become the first coach to lead 3 different teams to the Super Bowl, but decided it was time to let it go at the age of 65. Peyton Manning had an X-ray on his injured thumb today. The Colts at this moment don't expect it to affect his playing status for the Super Bowl. Sports Center after Bedlam, ESPN News always.
Andres, thank you. A foul called by Ted Hillary. And it'll be on Fabit, his second. You talked about, Dick, how with the size of the conference, 16 teams, you don't play every team each year. And Notre Dame does not play Pittsburgh or Connecticut. And sometimes it's balanced, sometimes it's not. Sometimes television wants certain matchups. So you might always get to, as an example, UConn-Syracuse games, and other teams are playing weaker schedules. But with 16 teams, I don't know how you solve that problem.
Well, you solve the problem when you play each other at least once. They can do that very simply. Mathematically, that can be done.
So that's 15 games, and then you play one team twice, and that's 16 because the schools, the coaches don't want to go to an 18-game in-league season.
The coaches have to give in a little bit. I think Mike Tranghese, who does a phenomenal job, one of our great administrators with a passion and love for intercollegiate athletics. I think you can go to an 18-game schedule, and you get those coaches to agree to that and have 3 teams play each other twice.
Sosa travels. There are very few leagues anymore, say like the Pac-10. 10 teams, you play home and home against each of the other 9 every year. Everybody plays the exact same schedule.
Hey, the Pac-10, you talk about a conference that has come out of nowhere. What about a salute to Tony Bennett? And I'm not talking about I left my heart in San Francisco.
Now, Fabit lost it on the way up. I don't know if Palacios bothered him or if it just slipped out of his hand.
He lost control of the ball.
And Padgett left it short of the other end. Now they're running.
Nice pass. That's where they excel. You got to make that layup. Got to catch and make the layup.
Dyson is fouled. Let's go back to the previous trip down the floor. What happened here?
Well, to me, he lost control of the ball. Looked like it slipped right out of his hand. Never got control.
Fourth foul on Edgar Sosa, Dick.
Well, the Big East certainly has come so far from when its inception back in '79, created by the visionary Dave Gavitt, a Hall of Famer. His son Danny doing now a great job in the house here tonight. I introduced him to Denny Crum. I said, Denny, his dad is Dave Gavitt. He said, I know his dad.
Here comes Robinson back into the game for UConn. Let's talk about him a little bit, Dick. He's the guy that had been coming on and had been starring the last few games for the Huskies, but nothing so far here tonight, has not scored.
He had 21 against Indiana. Played really well in that game with Indiana.
And he's the guy that the coaching staff, to a man, they said of all the incoming freshmen, he was the guy the most heavily touted and the guy with the most upside.
Still plenty of time on his clock, but they're going to get some defensive stops and try to get some easy hoops.
And Dyson commits the foul against Williams out on the perimeter. That's what Robinson did against Indiana, and the lack of what he's done here tonight.
Hey, NCAA Division I, top 5 NBA players. Connecticut with 14, Duke with 13, the Tar Heels with 12, Arizona with 10, and UCLA with 10. Hey, just imagine if Andrew Bynum, I was thinking about, if he didn't go to the NBA and went to Connecticut.
Yep.
What about you look and think about Telfair? You think about Amir Johnson with Louisville.
You think about Brandon Jenkins knocking down the three.
That's what they need out of Jenkins. He was so effective last year. The injuries have set him back. This is the healthiest tonight that this team has been.
This is a team that really has a chance to get better and better as the season progresses. Adrian inside draws the foul.
I see them going a little wrong because when you look at the Big East this year, you don't have a lot of super clubs. I mean, I think they'd be the first to tell you there's a lot of mediocrity. And I think when you look at that, they're going to get a lot of W's.
Well, the top 12 scorers last year in the league
have left.
Are gone.
Yeah. I mean, the league was so solid. It goes in cycles. I mean, they're going to be back. I don't think there's any doubt whatsoever. I mean, they just have too much of an attractive package, great visibility, television exposure, and that all leads to recruiting. And it's all about recruiting. That's the bloodline of any program.
Louisville's got a challenging schedule coming up. We talked about a game at home against Syracuse Saturday at 7 here on ESPN. Then a 2-game road trip to Cincinnati and a good Villanova team. Don't sell Villanova short. We know they lost a lot, but Jay Wright's club is strong. They've got Georgetown at home. They've still got to go to Pittsburgh, Marquette, and UConn.
Yeah, those are tough trips. I tell you, talk about Villanova. What about the play of Reynolds, the freshman?
Yep.
He's my player, my diaper dandy of the week on my website this week. Came out yesterday. He's been absolutely sensational.
Here's the upcoming schedule, at least the next 5 for the Cardinals. You'll get your fill of them here on ESPN.
You got to win those games at home. You got to win at home. If you could split that game, Cincinnati and Villanova, you're in pretty good shape.
Terrence Williams to the line. 7th foul committed by Connecticut, so it's 1-1 for Williams. A spectacular athlete. As mentioned, he leads them in scoring, rebounding, and assists, but a very streaky shooter from the outside. But boy, when he is on, he can take over a game.
Yeah, he could be their best all-around player. I mean, he's so talented. You know, you look at Connecticut, they've spoiled so many people there with the expectations are unreal every year. It's the one show in town, that and the women's basketball program as well.
That should be Louisville basketball, and it is.
Yeah, Louisville really playing well here in the second half. Defensively, offensively, they're in sync. Good inside game, perimeter game. Look at this, they're coaching, they're all fired up. A lot of spirit, a lot of enthusiasm.
Dick, Connecticut has 4 assists tonight and 16 turnovers. You can't win when you play like that.
That's 1-4 in a negative fashion.
Yeah, you just can't win. Williams for 3. Rebound Adrian. Wiggins one-on-one with McGee. The pull-up from the elbow, and he's fouled from behind by Jenkins.
That's a silly foul right there from a veteran player. You know, both these programs, these fans in both, in Louisville and certainly in Storrs, Connecticut, expect nothing but success. Hey, can I say happy birthday to my brother today?
Sure.
My brother John, a big Connecticut fan. Because his son, he's in New Jersey.
New Jersey, I'm sorry.
His son went to Connecticut.
That's right.
His son was involved with the athletic program as well. Did a lot of the video work. Christopher doing a great job as an engineer now, but happy birthday, John. I mean, he's my young brother. He turned the magical 60 today.
More mature than you?
A lot more mature. I'm still acting 12.
Wiggins misses misses the first. Palacios is going to sit down now for the Cardinals.
And as soon as I grow up, you slap me across the head because then I know the party's over. I mean, you saw me tonight with all these students having a blast. I've been about 8 years old.
Missed free throws, another one of Connecticut's problems. Padgett in disbelief that he was called for a foul.
I got to believe it's in disbelief when you look at the coaching staff in Connecticut, the way they shoot on that free throw line. They think he got all ball, but Tim Higgins says, no, I see somebody. I see somebody. I mean, it looked like ball. Padgett says, what did I do? He has struggled on the line. He's 3 for 10 against Pittsburgh.
UConn 10 for 15 as a team from the line tonight.
He was a quarterback in high school, good athlete, was a solid complementary player with the superstars that surrounded him last year. Now he's being asked to be a star. Some guys are not made to be stars.
Well, when you look at Adrian, Robinson, Price, Dyson, who do you think has the best chance to be the go-to guy on his team this year?
Oh, I think Robinson has the potential. But I think, like a young team, it's going to be up and down every game.
Pressure, Dick.
Padgett, by the way, a transfer, started out at Rock Chalk Jayhawk land. Came from out of Reno, Nevada, where they got beat the other day by New Mexico State, coached by Reggie Theus.
They're doing great this year. Robinson outside, a little strong on the three, and Adrian fouls Padgett.
They are doing great, and Reggie Theus, former assistant coach for Rick Pitino, doing a heck of a job. Had a kid, Justin Hawkins, had a big night with 29. He's a transfer from out of Utah. They got 8 transfers on their roster.
Wow. Padgett will go to the line for the 1-and-1 for the Cardinals. Palacios in for Clark for Louisville. Thabit in for Robinson for UConn.
Oh, there's a look at Bobby Valvano, Jim's brother. And I see Bob and I see Jim Calhoun, and I immediately think of the V Foundation. And I'm so proud. If you go to my website right now, Dan, it went up today. We are trying to raise thousands for a new research grant to find a cure for that disease. Just took the life of Vernon Rule. 500,000 people will lose their lives. Think about that number this year with cancer. If you want to help us, make a donation. Just go to my website, dickvitalonline.com, and look on there and click on. You'll see right up there how you can make a donation, any amount, to put toward our desire for a research grant that's going to help to fund finding a cure for cancer.
And also, I'm sure, at least a link to the Jimmy V website where you can find out information about the event down in Sarasota in May.
May 18th, we're going to honor Mike Krzyzewski, Dick Vitale Gala, which I'm proud to be with. And look at Bobby. Those people at the V Foundation do such a phenomenal job. Tonight you see Jim Calhoun, a survivor, great example and inspiration of so many people. Jim Boeheim. And Mike Krzyzewski's been such a superstar with the V Foundation, and we're going to honor him. It's going to be really special on May 18th.
A charge on Price, another turnover committed by UConn.
There's that man-to-man defense having a tough time coming up with stops.
Williams trying to shed Dyson, a good perimeter defender, hands it off to McGee. And McGee, a little push on by Austria as McGee tried to penetrate.
You know, with McGee and Jenkins, they get some experience, and they need those guys coming back from their injuries.
Some experience for Oklahoma State. Guys like Mario Bogan, James On Curry as they host the Sooners after us tonight on ESPN and ESPN HD. Big Monday presented by Bud Light.
Did you know, a lot of people didn't know this, that Jim Valvano was an assistant at Connecticut in 1971 and 72. I went to a party one time after a Connecticut game, and it was at D. Rose House, who's going to be honored, former coach at Connecticut, and Walt Dropel, former baseball star of the Red Sox, was there, and I was like a little kid. I couldn't believe Walt Dropel was in the house. D-Row, beautiful guy, is going to be honored on that big night when they honor the Huskies of Honor.
February 5th, a big Monday game against Syracuse.
Yeah, D-Row, certainly a guy, a cancer survivor, and a beautiful human being.
Offensive rebound by Terrence Williams off the missed free throw. Now Louisville can run some offense again.
Take some time off that clock.
Connecticut with 34 points in 32 minutes.
I was just going to say, Dan, with their ability to score, it's really troublesome right now to try and make up a 14-point deficit.
That ball almost went in. A foul will send Palacios to the line when we come back. Louisville up 14.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Refreshingly Smooth Bud Light, always worth it, and in part by Pontiac, the official performance machines of the NCAA.
On ESPN2, the Tennessee women have mounted a comeback against Duke. Candace Parker hits the three to make it a three-point game. No coincidence that the Lady Vols started coming back when Bruce Pearl showered and took all that orange body paint off of him. Duke still with a 5-point lead late on ESPN2. Bedlam coming your way. James Curry and his buddy Mario Bogan, the second highest scoring duo in the land. Oklahoma and the Pokes coming up.
Now look at the domination for Louisville in the second half here tonight, Reese. UConn just 13 points in the second half, 2 for 14 shooting. You know, somehow I find it hard to believe that a Jim Calhoun or a Mike Krzyzewski or a Lute Olson would take their shirt off, go shirtless, and paint themselves.
Would I do it, though?
The color of their school to go support a... Would you do it? Oh, in a heartbeat.
You know what you put me? So you put me in a wacky category.
You're the president of the wacky category, although Bruce Pearl's gaining on you.
I made a living being wacky. I miss you down at the Broken Egg. I'll be there tomorrow morning, walk to Siesta Key Beach, and I'll be thinking about you. 74 degrees, sun shining.
Palacios extends the lead to 16.
He looks like he's got his strut back.
Yep.
They thought he was going to be a Mashburn. Remember Mashburn at Kentucky?
Oh, yeah.
Come out of New York City.
Price gets through the pressure. Dyson to Thabit for the slam.
That's the way they like to attack pressure. Go right to the goal to be there, show a little bit of his agility. He's going to be a dominating player if he stays and listens to the likes of Jim Calhoun, George Blaney, and Tom Moore. He stays there. Mr. LaFleur, that coaching staff will make him. Remember Okafor, obviously where he came from? I mean, how he developed and got better and better. I mean, you can't teach that one, that agility in 7-3. You can't teach it.
9 points tonight for Thabit. Jerome Dyson just committed his 4th foul. It's 2 shots the rest of the way for both teams with 7.5 to go.
Louisville's so frustrated, Rick was telling us, about the fact that having all these players out with injuries. But, you know, also, you think about the guys that committed to come here and never arrived. Right. I mentioned earlier Johnson and Telfair. And had some transfers as well.
You saw Marcus Johnson checking in for Connecticut. That's because Dyson's sitting down after the 4th foul. Williams, 1 of 2.
The kid I thought was going to step up this year, Dan, for Connecticut, and hasn't, Craig Austria. I thought after watching him last year, he was going to be a positive force.
Because of Price coming back, or effectively starting his career, getting his first playing time at Connecticut, Austria was pushed into a backup role.
Well, you think Austria, when teams would stack in with that zone, that he would be effective.
Yeah. Price knocks down the 3. Connecticut making a little run now.
His dad was a sensational player, Tony, when he played over at Penn, drafted him when I was with the Pistons in the 2nd round. He had really a size problem, which was really his dilemma. Couldn't make that adjustment to playing out in the perimeter, but led Penn to the Final Four. The year it was Larry Bird against the Magic Man.
Boy, a low percentage play there. Palacios trying an alley-oop to Jenkins, and you talk about...
What's a beat back there? It's not intelligent.
And you talk about time and score, know the situation. That was not a good play there by the Cardinals.
Not good basketball IQ. I'm glad you listened to me about time and score. I mean, it's been a lot of fun working with you, buddy.
You too, my friend. Let's look at Connecticut. Only 21 points in the first half. They had the lead, though, at halftime, 21-18, but Louisville has dominated most of the second half. It has been, let's be honest, especially for UConn, an ugly offensive display.
Oh, it's been ugly.
Yeah. 4th foul on McGee. He goes out. Sosa's back in. He's got 4.
You know, there's ugly Betty, but this has been ugly hoops. It's been ugly hoops. Yep. But you know what? We still get paid. We're still here, and it's fun being with everyone. Yep. It's fun seeing Rick and Jim, who's so cordial to us before the game.
Well, Jim Calhoun said earlier this year, this is the kind of team that makes an old coach feel older, and that's what this team, he loves them, and he knows they're giving a great effort, but 8 freshmen, 5 sophomores, are they getting anywhere?
See, Patrick can handle the basketball, so he's going to bring Thabit away from the basket. But the way he's played inside, he doesn't have to bring him away.
The Beats had a nice, Padgett rather had a nice night. He's got a double-double, 12 points and 10 rebounds.
He looks healthy tonight. He doesn't look like he's favoring his knee like we saw earlier in the year.
Sosa the kick to a wide-open Williams, his second air ball tonight. Remember, he made those 2 threes.
And they ran over and looked at us. I don't see him running over right now.
You're right.
That's not a shot Rick wants. Not a shot he wants.
He's a 25% shooter from beyond the arc. He's virtually unstoppable when he puts the ball on the floor and attacks the rim, but he's fallen in love with the 3. Reminds me a little bit when we saw him a lot at Kansas, J.R. Giddens.
Yeah, J.R. Giddens was that way, yep. But J.R. Giddens had a lot more ability in making that 3.
Yeah. Padgett's going back to the line.
Hey, talk about the Big 12. You mentioned the Big 12. Billy Gillespie, I can't wait to see his club. You talk about a guy that has a team that I think is going to really be something to watch in March Madness. I mean, they got some players down there, Carter and A.C. Law.
Great
you think about Jones. They defend. They love playing together. And I will be honest with you, I thought that was an impossible task when he took that job over.
They are ranked 8th in the nation right now.
Did you think that was a tough job?
Oh, sure.
I really did. Almost like South Florida, where I feel that job. I feel for certainly Coach McCallum up there in South Florida and basketball, such a struggle in the Big East.
Sosa pressuring Price as he brings it into the front court, nearing the final 6 minutes.
They're staying in that zone. They're going to make him shoot over the top, and he nails it again.
Price's second 3 in the last minute.
That's the guy that they recruited when he came out of high school. Jim Calhoun raved about him, and then he had that illness. Now he's trying to show some leadership skills, clapping his hands.
30-second timeout Louisville. Price now has 13.
You're reversing the ball right over the top. I mean, it's wide open up top, but you got to make those shots. He's going to give you that perimeter shot, and with their reputation, I mean, look up here in the Big East.
That's the top half of the league right there. Pittsburgh losing its last game to Marquette, so you got a log jam in second. Louisville going to move up there with the Irish, Marquette, and Syracuse with a win here tonight.
I say you're going to like that Marquette team because 3 of those 4 wins are on the road.
And there's UConn at 2 and 3, in danger of falling to 2 and 4. And I'm not saying this specifically in UConn's case, but just keep in mind that the bottom 4 teams don't even go to the conference championship in New York.
Wow, you talk a scoop. That would be an unbelievable scenario if that ever happened for UConn, but that will not happen.
No, and I'm not implying it would. Just it's something to keep in mind. And sometimes the biggest battles in the Big East the last couple of years are for those final couple of spots to get to the Big East championship.
Stop being a politician. You know you implied it. You put it out there for everybody. Come on.
I did not.
Come on, Danny. Danny, you made that little reference so people could think about it. Nothing wrong with that because you're honest. And you're telling the truth.
I thought you're on my side.
I am. I love you.
Padgett gets his man in the air and draws another foul. He has had a terrific, aggressive night.
Well, the area's problem right now is allowing him to get the ball in too deep. But that, again, comes with experience. Comes with getting stronger physically.
That foul came on the help defender, Robinson, who came over. 4th on Robinson. And Padgett, you can see with a double-double, back to the line again for a couple of shots.
See right here, look how deep he gets it. Freeze it right here. He gets the ball in his foot. Now he wheels in here. He backs away. He doesn't muscle up on him. See, he backs away from him. Next year he'll be a lot stronger. I hope he comes back to UConn and doesn't run for the dollars and sits on a pine and gets wasted away. The NBA scenario, not ready for it.
Adrian in for Robinson. Padgett knocks him down to extend the lead.
And you know, David Stern, I can guarantee you, he'd rather see these kids stay in school. I can guarantee you that. He and Russ Granick were such a combination together in marketing the NBA. And Russ has stepped aside.
Dyson on the drive, gets the floater to go. The basket will count, but it's an offensive foul on Dyson. So Tim Higgins saying he released the ball before the contact.
I don't like that rule. I like the rule in the NBA. You either have to score or you have to charge. This is what we always call that little political makeup play. And you keep everybody happy.
I don't mind it. He let the ball go first, so I think the shot should count, but it's the 5th on Dyson, so he's out of the game, Dick.
Well, they got guys that can rotate back there. I mean, they are a team with depth there, but nobody really stepping up. Then you lose a guy, you got some fouls to give.
Dyson leaves, having scored 9 points. Jim Calhoun contemplating his options right now. He'll send Doug Wiggins back into the game, the East Hartford, Connecticut product.
Hey, think about Jim Calhoun and all the great players he has. He's had so many superstars. I think of the history of Connecticut basketball. It's been unbelievable, Dan, when you think about the great ones that have played for him.
Now, who's your best all-time player under Jim Calhoun?
Well, you know, we talked about it before the show tonight. My 5 best? Well, you got to think about certainly Okafor. I mean, he's got to be there. Richard Hamilton's there as one of my choices. I mean, you got to love Ray Allen and Danielle Marshall. I think they're locks. And then who's my 5th guy? Ben Gordon or Chris Smith? I'm going to give it to Smith. He had over 2,000 points. I know Gordon led him to a national title. Clifford Robertson could be in the mix as well.
Rob Butler wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad either. No, they've had some great players. But I got to go with the 5. I like that 5.
Connecticut gets it over. Price, the pull-up. Got it. Boy, is he feeling it here in the second half.
Well, this might be a game that he can build off.
Remember, he didn't start this game.
Well, that's maybe got the message. That you use PT. The quickest way for kids usually to get the message is take away PT. Take away playing time.
Price just committed a foul. And 2 more free throws coming. Louisville is cashing in at the line, effectively trading free throws for made baskets with the Huskies right now.
You know, Mike and Michael was on their show, as I am every Monday this morning. We talked about being a kid. And when you heard the voice of Lovie Smith, the coach of the Chicago Bears, it was like a little guy talking, a little kid who just enjoyed the moment. You watch the players celebrate in jubilation after winning. And I think that's the one area you want to really let all these players know. Don't forget being that little kid. Enjoy it. Enjoy the moment. Don't get carried away with the entourage and all the characters that want to get a piece of the action, want to be around you.
Well, that's something Aaron Gray told us when we saw Pittsburgh last week. That he talked to his mom, and his mom said, hey, the NBA's a business. If you want to be a kid for 1 more year, go back to college.
Be a kid. Nice spin move right there. Back it out.
Good decision by Williams. Bad decision, and he got lucky.
He got lucky right there. Managing the clock right now important. You're at winning time. You got to close it out. Something Jim Calhoun said, we haven't learned how to finish games. They didn't finish that game against Indiana.
Connecticut has lost 5 out of 7. Jim Calhoun wanted to carry there on Jerry Smith. Rick Pitino has called the 32nd timeout with 11 on the shot clock and a 10-point lead, 4.5 to go.
I want to wish the best to Kay Yao. She's coming back coaching after battling breast cancer at North Carolina State. Beautiful lady, a superstar coach. And Kay, we wish you the best. Definitely. I know that you're going to be as strong as ever.
Hey, you talked about Rick Pitino. You've known him a long time and what an intense coach he is. Here is Terrence Williams on what Coach Pitino is like on game day.
A typical day, I'll say, of a game day, he's more amped and excited than all the players combined, because 1, he hates to lose. For 2, he hates to lose, and for 3, he really hates to lose. So it's like he's gonna find a will in the way to win.
And number 4, he hates to lose, I can tell you that.
Well, he doesn't do it very often, does he?
But he's very kind and very gracious. I know we had that President's Club I mentioned earlier. It was $50,000, $10,000 a year. Like people that could afford it, and he jumped in right away, as did Tom Izzo, and we put $1 million with 20 guys quickly. Anybody else, any coaches out there want to join? I'm going to put a second phase. Just give me a call. Would love to have you in the President's Club or the Jimmy V. Guys out there that have been fortunate to make a great living, because the life you save could be somebody you love.
Sosa is fouled by Wiggins. It seems like every single possession, Louisville's winding up at the free throw line. They are 18 of 23 as a team from the stripe tonight.
Well, we talk about so often how important it is. And like I said, in that Marquette game, they go 10 for 10 in the overtime. Dominic James stepped on that line. I tell you what I love about Tom Crean's club. As I was telling Rick today, and I mentioned it earlier, I mean, they're just so tough mentally. We saw them against Duke. We saw them against Texas Tech. They just have that toughness about them.
Great perimeter play, too. As good a trio in the backcourt as just about any team in the country.
I think they reflect their coach. They really do.
What's at stake here tonight? Well, a couple of teams looking for a signature win, especially UConn, which has lost 5 out of 7. Louisville's coming off maybe its best win of the year, a road win at DePaul. Sosa open for 3.
He thought about it too much. I think this game is significant. I agree with you, Dan. These clubs do not have, when you look at their resume, a really super win. And they got to maintain and win games of this caliber. Obviously not a super win if you beat Connecticut. I mean, they're in the hundreds in the RPI and in the VBDI, Vital Ball Dome Index as well. But I can tell you this, it's still an important game. You're playing at home, you're Louisville. You got to win this game, and you got to beat Syracuse.
Syracuse coming to town Saturday, 7 Eastern here on ESPN. Connecticut, a very young team, loaded up the schedule against some weaker opponents. And home games in November, December. Started off 11-0, got into the rankings, fell out of the rankings last week. First time in about 3 years.
Jim Boeheim's club has have to find a way, and I hope over the summer he works on it. Paul Harris, his shooting ability, really, he's a great athlete. He's got to be able to make shots. Cannot win. You can talk all we want about the defensive end. You got to make shots.
Foul on the rebounding action there as Adrian is going to head to the line. Jeff Adrian now has 15 rebounds tonight. The foul was on Palacios, his 3rd.
Well, that's a quiet 15, I can tell you that.
If he knocks down one of these free throws, he's got himself a double-double.
You know, Patino's taken 4 different schools to the NCAA tournament. Louisville, Boston University, Providence, Kentucky. It's amazing. He's taken 3 teams to the Final 4. Think about that. Providence, where he had a little guard by the name of Donovan. I think we've heard of him a little bit.
So. Whatever became of him.
Yeah, making it of his life. Except making a lot of cash down there in Gator country.
Don't forget, Big Monday presented by Bud Light continues here on ESPN. Oklahoma State coming up. The tip about 7 minutes away.
There's 11 guys that have taken 2 different schools to the Final 4. From Larry Brown to Sutton to Olsen, Henson, McGuire, Frank, Marto, Rose.
There's a block on Wiggins.
Hugh Durham, Jack Gardner, and Roy Williams.
The Cardinals up 9 and heading to the line when we come back.
Tickets are at an absolute premium here in historic Gallagher-Iba Arena for Big Monday. As Oklahoma comes calling, it's the 2007 edition of Bedlam. That's what they call the series. We'll also introduce you to the next generation of Bedlam basketball coaches. Now let's go back to Dan Schulman.
Ron, looking forward to you bringing us that game from Stillwater, one of the great environments in all of college basketball. The tip is coming up shortly. We're in the final 4 minutes here in Louisville, where the whiteout has the wave going here at Freedom Hall.
Yeah, they really do. Ron Franklin's got his voice going. He's all pumped up. I'm sure Fran is as well. Hey, I was trying to think about Louisville winning it in '86. The starting team. I remember Milt Wagner, Billy Thompson. I remember Tony Kimbrough. There was a Jeff Hall. I can't think of the 5th, but I remember they beat Duke, and that was our own Jay Billis, Tommy Amica, Johnny Dawkins, Danny Ferry, and Billy King, and Mark Allery. Hey, you think about basketball IQ. Think about that Duke group. Billy King, GM. Danny Ferry, GM. Tommy Amica, head coach. Johnny Dawkins will be a head coach. And our own Jay Billis, you know, not a bad basketball IQ among those guys, but didn't have enough to stop, never nervous.
Louisville just cashing in from the line, possession after possession, and keeping Connecticut Dick at arm's length. Price a miss. Rebound Cardinals. 2-on-1. Sosa, no.
Got to make that layup, but he had a trail. He didn't get the ball back.
Numbers now for UConn. Wiggins. They just can't make a shot when they need to. Robinson, no.
It's tough to come back from 11 down when you can't make shots. 4, 5.
Wild action under the rim.
Had 5 opportunities. Great effort, but can't put the ball in the basket, baby.
Great offensive rebounding, but no finish.
That's like a teacup. It's not like the Atlantic Ocean. I mean, right now, the way they're shooting, you can stand them on a beach and then miss the ocean.
They are so young, and they are trying so hard to find themselves offensively.
They're playing their heart out. You can't knock their effort. Their effort's an A. They're not efficient yet. They haven't learned how to be efficient with spacing and all the areas that are, boy, they're going to call reaching in.
Adrian is called for the foul. Let's go back down to that last possession and all this crazy action.
Well, this epitomizes basically their year, making shots. Another miss. That's 2. That's going to be the 3rd one. That's the 4th one. That's the 5th one. 0 for 5, you can understand in baseball, but in basketball, you can't get away with it.
2 more free throws for Padgett. That is his 18th point of the game. He's got 10 rebounds as well. He's had a super night.
He really made big plays when they needed him. And remember, this team was ice cold. They were frigid in the first half. Had 18 points at halftime. 18. And we're not talking football. We're talking basketball with a 3-point shot and a shot clock.
They've got 45 points here in the second half at what seems like a comfortable lead. 2.5 minutes to go.
You got a miracle. Unless they get Ben Gordon in that lineup, I think it's tough to overcome this lead.
You don't want to foul. Rick Pitino saying you don't want to foul. Jenkins is called for the foul. Well, everybody knows, Dick, Rick Pitino's been successful on the court, also finding success at the track. He co-owns Buffalo Man, which won the 100,000 Spectacular Bid Stakes January 7th at Gulfstream Park. Big into horses. You've had a little experience with him in this department, right?
Well, you know, Rick called me one time and said, I heard you love horses. I love horses. Every time I go to Lexington, I can't wait to tour all the farms and see the superstars. But
13-point lead, Louisville.
And I'll never forget, you know, he called and he invested into a horse. We called him Awesome Baby. And I went to his first race as a 3-year-old. And I went to Miami. First time I've been at the track. I can't even remember ever being at the track. Went down with my whole family, my grandchildren. And it was so exciting. He won his first race. We thought
he was
we
a
had
diaper dandy?
He was a diaper dandy that day. It was a great feeling. Went to the winner's circle. We took pictures. Like, needless to say, he never got close to it again.
He was no PTP at the end, huh?
He had a lot of injuries. He really did. A lot of illnesses. And had a breathing problem. And eventually, we invested $100,000 in him. We ended up selling for about $5. Not too good of an investment, but a lot of fun.
Williams knocks down the first. Louisville 24 for 30 from the line. This is amazing. Their last 18 points have come from the free throw line.
Wow. I mean, this has been not great basketball, but Louisville in the second half has played well. You got to give them credit. They really did a good job defensively. Offensively, got the ball inside the Padgett, made some threes.
Price with another one. He's got 17.
He's having a nice night where he can build off because it's been a struggle for him to score.
Good decision by Palacios. Don't need the shot, need to run some time. Well, Jenkins thinks otherwise.
Yeah, Jenkins should know better than that. He's a veteran player.
Boy, Price somehow keeps his balance and stays in bounds. They could have run another 15, 20 seconds off the clock.
Well, you know, Louisville with a win here tonight, just 9 out of 11. Now they got to maintain that. Jim Boeheim's team's going to be fired up. Jimmy knows how to coach and how to win. And they're going to come here with purpose, especially after losing like they did to St. John's.
Foul on Padgett, I believe. And if Connecticut loses this one, Dick, they will have lost 6 out of 8. They will be 2-4 in the league.
Well, Jim told us before the game, I mean, it's just one of those years with all these young kids.
After this game, UConn will go home and they'll host Providence on the weekend. Then they go to DePaul.
That's not an easy game when you look at Providence. Timmy Welsh's kids are very capable. The kid McDermott has been super.
Jeff McDermott's great. Herbert Hill, they're big guys, a terrific talent. Here's the upcoming schedule for UConn.
Rick Pitino told us Herbert Hill could play at the next level.
There's the Syracuse game, the big Monday game on February the 5th when the Huskies of Honor is going to be announced.
I'll tell you one thing, that game at Georgia Tech's not going to be easy.
No.
I mean, I saw Georgia Tech Saturday. They didn't have their A game. Crittenden's in, but Thaddeus Young is a superstar. And Crittenden's going to be an outstanding player.
And again, Louisville, move the ball around, run some clock, and it looks like they'll cruise through the last minute and a half to a victory.
Well, they got to feel good with the way they won here, the way they came back in the second half. Think about it. Indiana goes down in, beats Connecticut at Connecticut, and now here it is. Louisville comes out and wins convincingly in the second half.
Price the foul, his fourth. More free throws coming for the Cardinals.
Connecticut has to avoid the spurts where they really have negative spurts. And it's during that time the young kids struggle and people go on a spurt against them and puts them away. We've seen that time and time again.
This will be the first ever win for Louisville over UConn. 0-3 all-time between the two schools. How about this? 19 consecutive points have come from the line. Jenkins misses the first. Here comes Rob Garrison into the game, and now for Connecticut, a guy who had a pretty significant role at the beginning of last season with the backcourt depleted, but has hardly played at all this year.
One of the areas UConn has to really improve is the free throw line.
Yeah.
Shooting 63% for the season, second only to DePaul in terms of the negative level in terms of the bottom of the league in shooting on a free throw line.
Well, Jim Calhoun told us before the game his team is much better now than they were. It could have been an over and back right there. Much better now than they were when we saw them against LSU a few weeks ago. This is not going to please him. Williams will lay it in, but it's the same problems that are afflicting UConn. Yeah, the execution, the free throws, the assist to turnovers. We keep seeing the same things every time we do one of their games.
And I think you're going to see that. I think it's going to be a growing situation with young kids. The whiteout all belongs to Louisville tonight. Jim Calhoun and his kids, learning experience, but this belongs to Louisville. They get a win that they're going to feel good about. Padgett played really well.
19 points, 11 rebounds for Padgett. 18 points, 9 rebounds for Terrence Williams, 16 points tonight for Juan Palacios. So the three of them combined for 53 of Louisville's 68.
Well, they got to get that. They're veteran players.
Yeah.
They've been through it before. 2 years ago, Louisville in the Final Four. Last year, the NIT semifinals get beat by South Carolina in the semis. That's certainly not their goal. Their goal is the NCAA tournament.
Clark from the baseline. And Wiggins will get a dunk at the other end.
They got some good-looking kids in Wiggins and Dyson and Price. I mean, Robinson. But they're babies. They got to stay in school to beat and just keep getting better and better and better. That's what they got to strive for.
Louisville defeats Connecticut 68-54 at Freedom Hall here tonight. Don't forget, coming up next, Oklahoma State right here on ESPN. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Now let's send it to Ron Franklin in Stillwater.